Have you ever felt that deep, almost aching desire to truly change something fundamental about yourself?
Hmm.
Maybe it's a persistent pattern in your relationships or, a personal struggle you just can't seem to shake.
Right. Or even just feeling overwhelmed, kind of fragmented by all the information coming at us.
Exactly, that feeling of fragmentation. It's such a common human experience, isn't it? We crave wholeness, but, well, the path often feels hidden or just too complex.
Absolutely. In a world just saturated with information, it's so easy to feel disconnected. From ourselves, from others, even with all the tools we supposedly have for
We
connection,
might know a lot about things,
but not feel truly known. Yeah.
and that profound disconnect, exactly why we're taking a deep dive today into Curt Thompson's really groundbreaking book, Anatomy of the Soul.
It's a fascinating read.
It really is. This isn't just another book on spirituality or psychology. It's this amazing blend of cutting-edge neuroscience, deep insights from attachment theory, and timeless Christian spiritual practices. So our mission today is to pull out the most potent insights from this work. We want to offer you a clear path to understanding its core message,
Yes.
which is how integrating your mind can radically transform your life and your relationships, how it bridges that gap we often feel between, intellect and faith, and how it offers genuine hope for deep, lasting change.
Yeah. Thompson, he's a practicing psychiatrist, but also deeply Christian. And he just brilliantly illuminates the overlap between, say, the teachings of Jesus and what we're learning about interpersonal neurobiology.
Right.
He shows us that spiritual transformation isn't just some abstract idea. It has a tangible neurological basis. It really is, like one reviewer said, a volume of hope.
So here's the big question we're exploring for you today. What if the secret to personal and spiritual transformation lies in understanding these surprising, intricate connections between your brain and your soul? What if learning how your mind actually works is the key to unlocking the deepest desires of your spirit? Let's unpack this. Okay, let's start right at the core. Thompson's definition of the mind. He doesn't see it as static, like a computer hard drive.
No, not at all. He sees it as this dynamic, flowing process.
Yeah.
Its job is constantly regulating energy and information.
Energy and information.
Yeah, think electrochemical changes, neurons firing in patterns. It's always active, even when we're asleep, dreaming. It's never really off.
And this isn't just abstract thought floating around somewhere.
No, absolutely not. It's rooted in very real physical changes in our brains. Every thought, every feeling, it has a corresponding neuronal firing pattern.
Wow.
And what's truly fascinating is how Thompson connects this directly to the biblical command to love the Lord your God with all your mind.
Okay.
He emphasizes that to truly love God with your mind, you have to love him with your body too.
Yep.
Our physical experiences, our sensations, just being embodied creatures that's central to our mental activity.
So if you're disconnected from what your body's telling you,
then you're disconnected from a part of your mind, and therefore from a part of how you can truly experience and love God. It's all interconnected.
okay, and this is where it gets really interesting for me. The two hemispheres of the brain. Thompson helps us understand our we and I selves through them.
Right. Think of the right hemisphere as like the big picture artist, the holistic experiencer.
Okay.
It handles nonverbal cues, body awareness, that deep intuitive sense of connection, the we in our relationships. It's less caught up in linear time, not so burdened by past regrets or future worries.
Sort of present moment focused.
Exactly. In contrast, the left hemisphere is the meticulous problem solver. Logic, language, linearity, literal processing, and distinguishing the I, our individual self.
The analyzer.
Precisely. Now, Thompson points out a potential danger here, that tendency for right versus wrong thinking, which is often strongly tied to the left brain's need for categories and certainty.
Yeah.
That can sometimes overpower our flexibility and our capacity for love. We get so fixated on being correct, on labeling things, that we lose sight of actually knowing and empathizing with another person.
That's a powerful warning.
Yeah,
It's easy to do.
very easy.
It's like you get a flat tire, right?
Yeah.
Your right hemisphere gives you that instant, holistic feeling, oh no, car trouble, I'm stuck, this is frustrating.
That immediate felt sense.
But to actually fix it, you need your left hemisphere to logically figure out the steps. Where's the jack? How do the lug nuts work? Replace the tire. Linearly.
Exactly. Both are crucial. They have different jobs, but they need to work together. Integration. If they're not integrated, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
And we can go even deeper, looking at the brain in layers, from the really ancient automatic parts up to our uniquely human capacities. So the lower brain, the brainstem, the limbic system, these are the older, more primitive parts. We share them with, well, even with alligators.
Alligators, seriously.
Seriously. They handle basic survival, fight or flight, raw, immediate emotion. And they operate largely outside our conscious awareness, those powerful gut feelings or instant reactions. That's often the lower brain kicking in before we even think.
So that sudden jolt of adrenaline when you almost get into an accident, before you even process the danger consciously.
That's it exactly. The lower brain yelling danger super fast.
Okay. So what's above the alligator brain?
Well, then we move up to the neocortex, and specifically the prefrontal cortex, the PFC. This is often called the most human part. It's responsible for higher functions, things like agape love, discernment, decision-making, self-restraint.
The executive function center.
Right. And Thompson uses this great analogy of a clutch, like in a car.
A clutch. How so?
Think about it. The PFC integrates input from those lower reactive brain regions and our higher, more reflective ones. It helps balance excitement and calm our body's natural gas pedal, the sympathetic system, and the brake, the parasympathetic.
Oh.
And this integration allows for incredible response flexibility instead of just rigid automatic reactions. It gives us choice.
That sounds like immense hope for change, doesn't it? If this clutch can help us integrate, it means our brains aren't just fixed.
Exactly. Which brings us right to Thompson's powerful emphasis on neuroplasticity.
The brain changing itself.
Yes. Its amazing plasticity, its ability to form new connections and prune old, unused ones. He often quotes Hebb's axiom. Neurons that fire together wire together.
Right, I've heard that.
And this isn't just cool science. Thompson argues it's the biological basis for what Paul talks about in Romans 12.2, the renewing of our mind. We are literally capable of rewiring our brains for new behaviors, new ways of thinking, new ways of being. That's genuinely revolutionary.
It really is. Okay, so with that foundation, the dynamic mind, the hemispheres, the layers, neuroplasticity, let's explore the pillars, Thompson says, are essential for achieving this integrated mind.
Okay.
First up, and he stresses this is critically important, is the power of being known.
More than just knowing.
Exactly. He argues our deepest human craving isn't just for factual information or accumulating knowledge, but for being truly known, deeply, intimately, by others and by God. He says it's actually more vital than mastering a subject.
And he claims that only when we are truly known can we become conduits of love ourselves.
Wow. That really flips the script on how we often approach faith, doesn't it? Focusing on knowledge about God.
It does. And he illustrates this powerfully with a case study, Jeremy. This man came to him deeply depressed, unhappy in his job, feeling like his spiritual life was just unappreciated, stuck. Jeremy felt totally unable to change. And Thompson suggests his struggles were rooted in this fundamental lack of being truly known by others, yes, but also, crucially, by God.
Even though he might have known a lot theologically.
Precisely. Jeremy had a good grasp of his theology, knew the right answers, but that intellectual knowledge alone wasn't stopping him from losing his temper or feeling self-righteous. He was missing the relational connection, the being known part, that makes knowledge truly transformative.
That makes sense. Okay, pillar number 2, attention. Thompson calls this the ignition key of the mind.
Yeah. We all get voluntary attention, like choosing to read a book, and involuntary attention, like reacting to sudden pain.
Right.
But here's Thompson's crucial insight, and it's a profound question he asks us to consider. How well am I paying attention to what I am paying attention to?
Paying attention to your attention. Meta-attention.
Kind of. It's this deeper activation, noticing our own internal experience, feelings, sensations, thoughts as they happen. He argues this is what actually shapes our brain's wiring and profoundly influences our relationship with God.
Can you give an example?
Sure. The story of George and Kristen really brings this home. George was intensely focused on his daughter Kristen's problems, her drinking, her anxiety. Hyper-focused.
Understandable for a parent.
Totally. But he was completely missing his own internal struggles, his own anxiety simmering beneath the surface. He was paying attention to Kristen, but not to his own internal landscape. Once George started to pay attention to what he was experiencing inside himself, not just reacting to Kristen's behavior, Thompson says it literally transformed his relationship with her and with God.
Wow. So ignoring his own inner world was like...
Thompson puts it starkly. Ignoring his brain in this deep sense of self-awareness was basically ignoring God.
That's powerful. So it's not just what we look at outside, but courageously looking inside. Which leads perfectly to the next pillar, memory, and how it's about, interestingly, rewiring your future, not just recalling the past.
Right. Thompson clarifies two types here. There's implicit memory, these nonverbal automatic patterns, often ingrained really early in life.
Like muscle memory almost.
Sort of, but for emotions and reactions. Like Brad's story, his instant, intense reaction to his wife's anger directly mirrored his father's rage. It happened before he even consciously recognized why. That's implicit.
Okay. And the other type?
Explicit memory. That's our conscious recall of facts, events, things we can deliberately bring to mind. And here's where Thompson challenges a common belief. Many of us think of memory like a fixed record, a safe deposit box.
Yeah, like a video recording.
Exactly. But he says memory isn't static at all. It's dynamic. Every time we remember something, the memory itself is reconstructed and can actually change, influenced by our present context, our current emotional state.
So the memory itself changes when we recall it.
Yes. He says quite radically, your past as you have viewed it doesn't even exist as some objective, unchangeable reality. Your brain is always constructing it now, influenced by new information, new relationships.
That's a mind-blowing concept. Our past is always being restored.
It is. And this dynamic view opens up incredible possibilities for healing. It means your future isn't dictated by an unchangeable past.
So how do we work with that?
Well, one practical exercise he suggests is handwriting your autobiography.
Handwriting specifically?
Yes, because writing by hand integrates both left brain functions, language, facts, sequence, and right brain functions. Feelings, sensations, images, the whole context.
Okay, integrating both sides.
Right. And as you construct this narrative, especially if you share it with an empathic listener, you weave together those often separate implicit and explicit memories. It fosters coherence, deeper understanding, like Brad eventually connecting his automatic reactions to his wife back to specific buried childhood traumas. Integration brings healing.
Makes sense. Okay, the final pillar, emotion.
Yeah, and this is huge. Thompson calls emotion the energy around which the brain organizes itself. Yeah. And crucially, it's the primary means by which we actually experience God.
Experience God through emotion, not just intellect.
Not just intellect. He distinguishes primary emotions, the raw physical sensations, like a heavy chest, a churning stomach, tingling hands, the pure data from our body, from categorical emotions, which are the names we give them. Joy, shame, anger. It's the difference between feeling your heart race and labeling it anxiety.
We often jump straight to the label, don't we?
We do. And it's easy to dismiss or try to suppress those deeper, sometimes uncomfortable primary sensations. But Thompson explains how our implicit memory, those early experiences, can actually lead us to misread others' emotions, or even our own.
How so?
Imagine a husband who sees anger on his wife's face when underneath it's really deep anxiety. But because of his own past wiring, maybe with an overwhelming parent, he reads it as anger and shuts down, looks at his shoes. That defensive pattern doesn't help them connect.
You're right. It creates more distance.
Exactly. And this extends powerfully to our relationship with God. Thompson challenges the idea of a distant, unemotional God.
The unmoved mover sort of idea.
Right. But Scripture is full of God feeling joy, grief, anger, delight. Thompson encourages us to recognize that we actually influence God through our own emotional states, just like our emotions influence the people around us.
We influence God. That's a big thought.
It is. And he offers this beautiful practical exercise.
Yeah.
Try imagining God delighting in you. Really picture God singing over you, like in Zephaniah 3.17. And then just notice. Notice how that changes your own emotional state, your perception of God's presence right there with you. It shifts things from abstract belief to felt experience.
That's a profound shift, moving beyond facts to feeling felt by God.
Exactly. Feeling felt. That's key.
Okay, so we have these pillars: being known, attention, memory, emotion. Now, Thompson guides us through the really human cycle of rupture and repair. This touches on some tough stuff. Sin, shame, and the path to redemption.
He comes back to connection as our deepest craving. And he defines attachment fundamentally as the infant brain relying on the adult brain for its organization, its development.
Those early bonds are formative.
Hugely. These early attachment patterns, whether they're secure or insecure, like avoidant, anxious, disorganized, they have lifelong implications for how we relate to others and to God.
Right.
He also introduces this concept of mentalizing our ability to imagine and understand what might be going on in another person's mind.
Putting yourself in their shoes.
Essentially, yes. Explicit mentalizing is conscious, reflective, like pausing to wonder, my friend looks upset. I wonder why. Implicit mentalizing is more automatic, often based on past experiences, like instantly assuming your coworker's short tone means they dislike you, instead of considering they might just be stressed.
We make those assumptions all the time.
All the time. But here's a really good news. Thompson emphasizes earned, secure attachment.
What do you mean?
Meaning our attachment patterns aren't fixed for life. They can change in adulthood through new, empathetic, responsive relationships. We can literally re-story our relational patterns and create healthier ways of connecting.
That's incredibly helpful.
It is. However, we often take what Thompson calls the low road of rupture.
The low road.
Yeah, and he defines sin here not just as specific bad actions, but fundamentally as choosing mindlessness rather than mindfulness. A choice that leads to disintegration, disconnection, both within ourselves and with others.
Sin as mindlessness.
Yeah.
That's a powerful reframe.
Isn't it? These toxic ruptures, often driven by intense fear or shame, send us down this low road where our prefrontal cortex, our clutch, basically goes offline.
The thinking brain shuts down.
Pretty much. And that leads to automatic, rigid, impulse-driven behaviors, like the example of Eugene yelling at his son, Will, which creates deep shame and breaks their connection. That choice to be mindless, to react without reflection, that's the root.
And shame plays a huge role here. Thompson distinguishes it from guilt.
Yes, and it's a crucial distinction for healing. Guilt is focused on behavior. I did something bad. And that can actually motivate repentance, making amends.
Okay.
Shame is much deeper, more pervasive. It's about identity. I'm bad. And shame leads to hiding, deflecting, feeling fundamentally flawed and isolated.
Like Adam and Eve in the garden.
Exactly. Hiding after eating the fruit, that's classic shame-driven behavior. And notice how they used quick, logical-sounding excuses, what Thompson calls left-mode alacrity, to explain why it wasn't really their fault, rather than facing the deep, uncomfortable feeling of shame itself.
So what's the alternative to the low road?
The high road of repair. And this requires mindful awareness, consciously shifting our physical state out of that fight-or-flight mode and taking intentional initiative.
It takes work.
It does. And Thompson points to Jesus as the ultimate model of repair, especially in that incredibly moving interaction with Peter after the resurrection in John 21.
By the charcoal fire.
Yes. Peter had denied Jesus 3 times, likely around a fire. Jesus intentionally meets him again by a fire, bringing that painful memory right into the present.
Wow.
And he asks Peter, "Do you love me?" 3 times. Not, Thompson argues, to twist the knife or accuse, but specifically to heal Peter's deep, crippling shame, to facilitate confession and open the door to a new future.
Facing the failure, but in love.
Exactly. And crucially, Jesus doesn't just leave Peter there in his shame. He gives him a new commission. Feed my lambs, take care of my sheep. He reinforces a new identity for Peter, literally rewriting his narrative from denier to shepherd.
Redemption in action.
Totally. Thompson argues confession and forgiveness are integral to this repair process. Not about groveling, but about opening ourselves to God's love, allowing that love into the spaces filled with shame, and creating a new integrated story. Just like 1 John 1.9 says, if we confess, He is faithful and just to forgive us.
It's about creating a new narrative with God.
Precisely. And this isn't just an individual thing. Thompson powerfully underscores the healing power of community.
How does community fit in neurologically?
He points to Paul's vision in 1 Corinthians 12 and 13, where differentiation are unique gifts and integration, mutual appreciation, suffering, and rejoicing together work within the community like a powerful mirror neuron system.
Mirror neurons.
Yeah.
Reflecting each other.
Yes. When we truly empathize with someone else's joy or pain, our brains literally mirror that experience to some degree. This collective mirroring within a loving community reflects God's love back to us and becomes a source of profound relational healing for everyone involved.
When one part suffers, every part suffers with it.
Yeah. When one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. It's not just a nice metaphor. Thompson sees it as a picture of an integrated brain, writ large in the body of Christ.
So, okay, bringing this all together, what does it look like to consciously live this integrated life? How do we practice this?
Well, Thompson connects it beautifully to classic spiritual disciplines. He argues they aren't just religious duties. They are incredibly practical tools designed specifically to foster an integrated mind.
Like meditation.
Exactly. Meditation, focused attention. These aren't just about finding calm, although they do that. They actively increase activity in our prefrontal cortex, strengthening that clutch of integration we talked about.
Strengthening our ability to choose our response.
Right. And prayer, especially the wordless groans Paul mentions in Romans 8.26, that kind of prayer actively engages our right hemisphere. It lets us express feelings and intentions that go beyond language, connecting us to God in a deeper, more holistic way.
What about something like fasting?
Even fasting, approached mindfully, helps us become more aware of our bodies. It helps us notice how often we might automatically use physical comforts like food to numb or shut off distressing emotions. It interrupts that mindless cycle.
And study, journaling.
Those practices integrate left and right brain functions. They connect factual information, left brain, with our emotional experiences and images, right brain, helping us make coherent sense of our lives.
So these ancient practices have a direct neurological benefit for integration.
That's exactly his point. They are tools for brain change, for becoming more whole.
And Thompson then issues this powerful call to partnership, right? It's not just about our own inner world.
No, definitely not. He says God invites us to partner with him in bringing abundant life, not just for our personal transformation, but impacting our families, our churches, our communities.
How do we do that practically in community?
He suggests practical steps, like initiating real dialogue in small groups, asking those who, what, where, when, how questions to truly understand each other's emotional stories, not just surface-level stuff, creating space for validation, for prayer together.
Building that communal integrated brain, essentially.
Yes, building deeper coherence and connection, mirroring God's love within the community itself.
And ultimately, Thompson brings us back to, well, to God's love.
Yeah, that's the bedrock. He emphasizes that God is relentlessly pursuing our integration, our healing. He deeply desires for us to have that experience of feeling felt by him.
Feeling felt.
To know deep in our bones that we are truly seen, heard, and understood by a loving God. It's not just about knowing about him, but being intimately known by him.
He encourages recalling that exercise, doesn't he? Imagining God delighting in us.
Yes. Really allow yourself to picture God looking at you with tenderness, with love, maybe even saying something like, "You are my child whom I love. I am so pleased with you, so glad you are on the earth."
That feels vulnerable, but powerful.
It is, and it's not just a nice thought. He believes it's an invitation to experientially feel God's fundamental posture towards us. And that feeling, that experience, can literally reshape our inner landscape, rewire our brains for hope.
So to kind of wrap this up, the core message of Curt Thompson's Anatomy of the Soul, it really reveals how understanding our brains, their intricate parts, their amazing plasticity, their deep need for integration, isn't just interesting science.
No, it's much more.
It's a deep, profound pathway to spiritual transformation.
Yeah.
It's about enabling us to live more fully known, more loving, truly integrated lives, reflecting the mind of Christ in our everyday existence.
It's such an empowering vision, really. It shows that the hope we all have for genuine, concrete, life-giving change, it's actually rooted in the mysterious, integrated connections within our own minds and in our connection with God and others.
So for you, our listener, maybe take a moment to reflect.
Yeah.
Is there one area of your life where you feel that sense of disintegration? Maybe a strained relationship, a persistent worry, a memory that still has a grip on you. What would it look like, maybe even today, to gently pay attention to that particular feeling or memory?
Just notice it.
Yeah, just notice what's happening inside without judgment and maybe courageously invite God into that specific space.
And perhaps consider this. Maybe the greatest adventure of faith isn't primarily about knowing more about God, but about allowing yourself step by step to be truly, intimately, and courageously known by him, transforming your mind and indeed your soul from the inside out,